All right, it's 11 a.m. Eastern time, so I'm going to start. I will record this and send it out to everyone that's joined and everyone that misses it, so you can always reference it in the future. So thank you everyone so much for joining our CloudExtend G Suite Crash Course webinar today. Feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar by typing in the QA box, and we will surely get to all those questions at the end of the webinar. So really quickly, what's on the agenda for today? So we're going to review the new features. We will, and then jump right into the crash course where hopefully you'll learn some about some features that you were not aware about, and then we'll jump right into the Q&A. So my name's Justine and I am the account manager here at Celigo for your CloudExtend G Suite subscription. I'm also the account manager for our other CloudExtend products, which include CloudExtend Outlook for NetSuite, CloudExtend Excel for NetSuite, and CloudExtend Excel for Salesforce. Feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions or feedback. I'm more than happy to help. I really just want to make sure that everyone's using the tool successfully. So I have a few slides here to help me better explain the features in our latest release, but just know that I'm going to be showing this live as well momentarily. So prior to this release, anytime you wanted to save an email and either the sender or the recipient of that email was not in NetSuite as an employee or contact record, CloudExtend would automatically create that missing contact for you. It's important to understand why we had to do this and why we had to create these contacts to begin with. And that is because NetSuite simply requires that attached emails have a matching sender or recipient in NetSuite. This ended up resulting in contacts with no company affiliation and often missing relevant information, as you can see demonstrated on this slide here. So we had several feature requests from customers to have more control over how these features were created. And because of that, we now give you the option to override the auto creation of contacts. So by unchecking the auto create missing sender and recipient box here, you'll be able to override the auto creation of contacts by either selecting an existing NetSuite contact or employee or creating a new contact and then adding data there and then saving the email. So I'm going to hop over to my Gmail account here and I'm going to demonstrate that feature now. All right. So I'm going to uncheck auto create missing sender recipient here. And then I'm going to go and choose an email that I want to save into NetSuite. Once I do that, you will see that this select sender recipient button populates. And this is only going to populate when either the sender or the recipient of an email you're trying to save is not in NetSuite as a contact or employee. So in this case, it's telling me, okay, either Justine Berto or Adriana is not a contact in NetSuite, and I know I am, so it must be Adriana that's not. So if I try to save this email right now, it's actually not going to let me. It's going to give me an error, and it's going to tell me to please select a sender and recipient to attach the email to. So once I click select sender recipient, it first allows you to change the sender if you wanted to. The sender is myself, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to leave that as it is. But when I click on recipient, I have two options here. If I simply just want to save the email and not create a contact for Adriana, I can assign the recipient to another record so that I can save the email successfully, because at that point, both the sender and the recipient will be in NetSuite. And we provide those suggested records here to choose from. So if you wanted to do that, you would simply click here, hit continue, and then save your email. In this case, I actually want to create a new contact for employee for Adriana. So I'm going to click the plus sign here, and this is going to bring up the create new contact form. And it's nice because we auto populate the email address in here for you, and we also put in the name. So then you can associate it with the company if you'd like to, which I'm going to do now. You might want to add a job title and add whatever other information you would add when adding a new contact in NetSuite. And then when you're done, you hit save. And now, because Adriana is a contact in NetSuite, I can save my email to wherever I want to save it to. Okay, and then once this saves here, I can choose where I want to save that email to. So I might want to save it to her contact record or wherever I want to save it and save email. Now, let's say you have your CloudExtend tool set up to auto-create missing senders and recipients for you. There actually may be times that you want to manually trigger that panel. So I'm going to go into my settings here, and I'm going to check that off. And then I'm going to go back into my folder here. And in a case that this might happen is when you're trying to save an email where the email address is more than 64 characters. A perfect example of this would be an email that was sent from NetSuite. It creates an email address for you that has more than 64 characters. And if you try to save this, it actually won't let you. Our tool is not able to attach that email. So in this case, you might want to manually trigger the panel by clicking on this button here, choose your sender, and then choose your recipient, and then continue and save the email. So so that's basically how the new features work. And just as a reminder, the app will continue working as it always has by creating those contacts, unless you come in here, and this applies to all end users, comes in here and unchecks this. Otherwise, it will just, continue as it always has in the past. So that's really the new features and how those work. So now I'm going to just jump into a crash course of the tool, and hopefully you'll find some cool features that you weren't aware of before. So we all know that CloudExtend saves Gmail messages to NetSuite, right? But I'm going to quickly review the icons here and then demonstrate some other features that hopefully you may not be aware of and may start using. So with that said, the home screen here, this is where you'll attach all your emails to NetSuite, and I'll review this in depth in a moment. This is a really cool feature. By clicking on the plus sign, you can actually create new NetSuite records directly from Gmail. I find this very useful, and it helps save a lot of the time throughout the day, and I'll show that as well. We have our history button here. If you click on an email and that email has been previously saved, it will show you where it's been saved to in NetSuite. And then some basic settings. I won't review them all. Just one that I want to point out is this tool allows you to actually send Gmail messages from within NetSuite. And I'll show that as well. I just want to point out that you do have to authorize this one time. So if you want to send those Gmail messages from within NetSuite, you just have to authorize this once, and then you'll be able to do that going forward. And then, of course, you can minimize and maximize the tool if you wish. You don't have to have that big block on the screen throughout the day if it bothers you. So I'm going to open up this email here between Jessica, Athena, and myself, and it looks like there's about 7, maybe 8 messages. So you'll notice that every single email is going to have the Celigo Save to NetSuite button here. And by the way, when you click that, it will populate the tool. But you don't have to go and save every single email individually. If you come down to the last email in the thread and click on this button, it will save this email plus everything before it. And same thing applies if you go down to reply, type your reply, hit send and save. It will send your reply, and it will save everything in the thread here. And then, of course, we have our compose send and save button here as well, which will save just that one email. So I'm going to save this email thread. So I'm going to click on this button here. And when you do that, we do a search for you in NetSuite. So first, we search by sender. And what we're looking for is all relevant records in NetSuite associated with the sender's name and email. In this case, Jessica Nana's information populates because she's the sender. When we search contextually, we look for all relevant records in NetSuite associated with recipient names and email addresses. So anything in to, CC, and if there's 5 or more digits in the subject line. So for example, if this had said in the subject line regarding sales order 12345, and I had a sales order 12345 in NetSuite, it would populate here. Now on that note, and this is a great feature, and I highly recommend that everybody does this. This little filter button here, it filters your search results. So when I click on this, and this is the actual real account that I use every day, I'm only saving emails to 3 record types, and that's contacts, customers, and tasks. I unchecked everything else off. And the reason why I recommend this is because if you have all these checked, it's going to find probably a lot of results and a lot of records that you're never going to save emails to. When you check off just the records you want, those are the only records that are going to display here. So in this case, for me, contacts, customers, and tasks. So it just makes it a lot easier to find which record you actually want to save to, and it reduces clutter when we do that auto search for you. So you can also use this search NetSuite records box up here to search for additional records that you may want to attach an email to. Maybe it's a vendor, maybe it's another customer, whatever it might be. This mimics the NetSuite global search. So let's say I wanted to add it to another contact record. I would search just like it would in NetSuite, and the results will populate, and I can add it that way as well. So let's say I want to save this email to Jessica Nana's contact record. Another cool feature that you might not be aware of, anytime you save an email to a contact record, it also is going to automatically save it to the customer record. This is very useful. I know for me personally, when I'm looking at records in NetSuite, I'm typically looking at the customer record and not necessarily the contacts. So if you save it to the contact, it will fall back to the customer. And that way, when you look at the customer record, you'll see all the emails that you saved to the contact records associated with that customer. So I find that very, very handy. So in this case, I'll include an attachment because I have one that I want to save, and then I'm going to hit save email. And when this is working, you can feel free to go into other emails, do whatever you want. It's not going to break. It's not going to break this. It's just us preparing to attach the email in the background. And then once the email's saved, I'm going to show where that's stored. So I get a message here saying successfully attached the email and successfully uploaded the file. So this is a new feature that you may have noticed in the last couple weeks. This is cool because now you can quickly jump to the record in NetSuite. So instead of going into NetSuite, searching for Jessica Nana's contact record, if I simply click this button, it's going to bring me directly to the record. Small feature, but very, very, very neat because it just saves so much time instead of having to come into NetSuite and search. So now that I'm on the contact record, where do we store the emails? So we store them in two places, excuse me. Communication tab, which as you know saves everything done through NetSuite and now also everything done through our tool. And then the Gmail tab. Now this is a dedicated tab that's only going to show those emails that you save via our tool. And if you want to view the email, just simply click on view and it will pop up in the NetSuite UI. And there's the email that I just saved between Jessica, Adina, and myself. And you can see here, here's the attachment as well. So that's where emails are stored. And I mentioned in the beginning of the call being able to compose Gmail messages from within NetSuite. So if you're on a record and you're on the Gmail tab, if you simply hit this compose button here, this will pull up your composed Gmail frame. And from here, you could simply type out your email and send it. And what's cool is because you're on the record, if you hit send and save, it's going to send it and also save it to the record that you're on. And we auto-populate the email address associated as well to make it a little bit easier. So keep in mind, you do have that option as well. You just have to authorize it that one time in your Gmail settings, and you can do that. So I'm going to hop back over to my Gmail account here, and that's really the basis of attaching emails. We tried to make it simple, intuitive, a few clicks away to get those emails saved to where you want them to in NetSuite. I mentioned being able to create new records. This is very simple and it helps save a lot of time throughout the day. So click on this plus sign here, and let's say I wanted to create a contact or a phone call, whatever it might be. Click on whatever you want to add. I'll do a task, and the create new task window pops up here. What's nice is you can actually make this smaller and move it over so that you could see side by side with your email. Maybe you want to, grab some information from an email and plug it in here, and then you just type your information just as you normally would. And once you're done adding everything in, hit save. And just like that, I have a new task that's created in NetSuite without ever having to leave Gmail. So this is a very handy feature. And then from there, I can also, if I wanted to, I can attach the email to that task that I just created. So that's how the creating new records work. And you can also edit records, which is pretty cool. I find myself doing this if a phone number changed or something like that. So if you're on the email, you can just simply click on the name here instead of checking this off. And when you do that, it will load the record details here. And then at this point, if you click on the little pencil, it will allow you to edit that record. And by the way, the first time that you do this throughout the day takes a little bit longer. Every time after that is probably about 2 seconds or so because we store everything in the cache. So let me have this go. And then I hit the pencil here. And now I can edit my record. Maybe I want to add a comment, whatever it might be. Maybe I want to change a phone number, etc. So hit update record, and boom, just like that, the record is updated in NetSuite without ever having to leave. And again, we give you that NetSuite button option here so you can quickly jump to that record. And by the way, you can filter your fields here for different record types. So I've actually filtered, if I click on the filter button, I've chosen the fields that I want to see when I'm viewing a record. Everything else I don't want to see here. I just want to see those specific fields, and you can do that for every record type. So it just is easier to see the information that you want. So that's really the Gmail portion of the tool. I'm now going to quickly review Google Drive, and then we'll jump right into the Q&As. So Google Drive is really neat because it doesn't take up any NetSuite storage space, and it's in real time because it's in Google Drive. So if I came in here, opened this up, made a change, or if I was in Google Drive and made a change to this file here, it would also update on the records that it's associated with. So if I wanted to add a new file or folder, I would just come over here and hit attach file folders. And this is going to pull up what your Google Drive looks like. And from here, you could search just like you would to find a file to attach. You can search in the box here. You can go to shared with me. We support Team Drive as well if you are using Team Drive. You can even upload a file from your computer, drop it into a Google Drive folder, and upload it to the record. So let's just say I want to add this socially savvy presentation. I would select it. You'll see a check mark here. And then when I come down, hit refresh, it will be there. Now, what's really cool about the folder, and you can see here I have a folder attached, and I have folders and files within that folder. Now let's say I'm in Google Drive or somebody else in the company is in Google Drive and you're adding files or folders to that folder that's already associated with the record, which I'll do right now. It's going to automatically attach to the folder that it's on in NetSuite. So now if I come back in here and hit refresh, we'll see, and I open up that folder, that that file is there. So essentially, as long as you have the folder on the records that you want it associated with, you can really manage all your files within Google Drive. So that's the Google Drive feature, and some of you may be using our calendar sync as well. I won't go over that because really there's nothing you have to do. It's just a bi-directional sync between your two calendars. So if you create an event in NetSuite, it will sync to Google and vice versa. So I'm going to open it up now for questions. Chris, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. I can relay the questions, Justine. There's actually 5 questions so far. So cool. The first question, one of our customers wants to know if there are multiple contacts in the email, how do we determine which one of those contacts is not in NetSuite? So I answered the question in line, essentially noting that all the entities that are missing will have a plus sign next to them. But if you can also just kind of demonstrate that, I think that would be good.
So this is referring to the new feature?
Yes, right, exactly.
Correct. So let me find an email here. So I think, no, that won't be able to work. Sorry, I don't know if I have another email that I can demonstrate that with at the moment. But I can make a short video and send that over afterwards.
Okay, got it. So I'll just explain it then to everyone. So can you just pull up the Google, just pull up our add-in and associate an email?
Sure.
And we'll just quickly show it. So what you would see is a plus sign next to the contacts that the suggested contacts that don't actually exist.
Right, which actually I can show here. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, great.
Perfect, sorry, I didn't realize that would work. Yep.
Okay.
So that's how you would do that.
Okay, good. All right, so let's see, the second question is related to Google Drive. Let's make sure I get this right. If I change data in a Google document that's attached to a number of NetSuite records, yep, do I need to reassociate that document with each record manually? And they're stating that they're using price lists. I don't think that matters. It could be any document that are stored on yep, customer records.
Yeah, so the answer to that is no, you don't have to do anything. If it's attached and you go, maybe this is this file here is attached to 20 records. I'm in Google Drive, I'm making changes. That's all you have to do. You don't have to come and attach it again. You don't have to do anything. It's all in real time and automatic. Okay, got it.
Okay, another question is, can I upload multiple files to Google Drive at once?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely can. So if you're, I think what you mean if you're on the record here and you hit attach files folders, if you can associate multiple at the same time. I think that's the question.
Yeah, they want to upload more than one file. So I think they want to take files from their desktop. So if you click on upload.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Upload.
Right,
yep.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. And you can, control click, command click, depending
yep,
on your
exactly,
OS and add multiple files. Okay,
yep,
got it. Okay, another question. We're getting a few more in. Can I attach an email to a contact that is neither the sender nor the recipient of that email? So the answer there is yes. I'm reasonably certain, but I think you kind of demonstrated that earlier, where you can choose a different, someone that is not in the system, right? So that's where you would use the search NetSuite entities.
Correct.
So if this email came in and you wanted to attach it to a contact that's not yourself, the sender or recipient here, you can search for another contact.
Yep. Or right, another, whatever it might be. Yep, you can attach
right,
emails
right,
to any record types. Doesn't matter.
Okay, good. So Claudia, I hope that answered your question. If not, please go ahead and let us know. So let's see, any tips to speed up the application? Should we change or adjust settings for speed or not save large files through Celigo, but through Drive, etc.? So first, I would always encourage you to save your files. If you have large files, save them in Google Drive. And that's really coming from someone with experience with NetSuite billing. So you are charged based on your storage space. I ran my own company for many years and got some of those bills. So for sure, if you have large files, store them on Google Drive. With regards to speeding up the application itself, there is a setting, and I think, Justine, if you go into the settings and where it says auto fetch related records, so if you turn that setting off, I think that's going to actually speed up your your Gmail a tiny bit, but it's going to slow down the actual setting inside of it'll slow down the our application a little bit, because when you click on that Save to NetSuite icon, they're not going to just pop up automatically from behind the scenes. So I would leave that checked off. And then, John, if you have any other questions around speeding up the application, or if there's something that's particularly slow, let us know, and we'll try and answer that in line here as well. Okay, so a follow-up.
Chris, really quick. Sorry, really
Yeah.
quick. If I just jump in and add one more thing to the Google,
Yep,
the question about files. This is cool because if you have the folder attached, let's say you have a folder attached to a NetSuite record, if you don't want to save the file, in the NetSuite storage, as Chris was mentioning, if you just come here and drop it into and organize it and put it into that folder, you can quickly get that file into that folder that's on the NetSuite record. So that's a cool way to kind of use this down here.
Okay, got it. Really good. Okay, so good. I'm glad you finished quickly, because we have a few more questions coming in. So follow up with the original question about attaching an email to a contact that's not the sender nor the recipient. So in this case, Claudia wants to be able to attach an email without attaching it to the actual sender. So I think let's make sure we have this use case right, Claudia. Justine, can you click on the little person icon at the top to right there, right? So this would automatically kick in the the button and allow you to attach it, to kind of attach it to someone who's not the sender and not the recipient. So in this case, we might want to attach it to someone else in the system. So Justine could change the sender here from herself to Jessica Nana, or to herself. So that's where that new icon would come in handy, where you can change the sender and recipients. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, please keep typing, and we'll kind of narrow down to the answer. Okay, so Lori's asking, stating she gets an error when she tries to edit a contact from the Celigo panel in Gmail. Is she doing something wrong? It doesn't even pop open the contact information. So Lori, one possible issue would be, and this is probably not the case, but if you're logging into a role that doesn't have permissions to edit a contact, then inside of NetSuite, then you wouldn't be able to actually edit the contact inside of our panel as well. So that's potentially an issue. And please just reach out to us and give a screenshot of the error message that you are getting, and we'll be able to sort that out. It should be really, really simple to sort out. Okay, so two more questions. Is there a way to automatically attach all my emails to NetSuite records?
So Chris, do you want to go ahead and answer that? Or you want me to jump in?
No, go ahead. I think that's fine.
So no, and the reason why we don't auto-attach emails is for a couple of reasons. One, best practice is really to save only the important emails, right? Because we don't want to clutter up the communication in the Gmail tab. So that's one reason. And also we want to give you the option of where you want to save the emails to. So you might want to save it to, I don't know, a vendor record or a contact. So we give you that, so we don't save it automatically because of that. However, I will let you know that there has been a couple of requests to be able to basically say, okay, I have saved this email and now I want to save all other emails associated with this. And I know that that's been a feature request. I'm not sure where it is, if it's being taken up, but just know that it has been brought up to our engineering team. And we'll see if we can take that up if it's something that, a lot of people want.
Okay, good. Thanks, Justine. And yes, that is a popular feature request. And the idea is essentially, once you've attached the email once, so we know where we should attach all the subsequent back and forth replies, that's the enhancement request, is to have all subsequent back and forth replies attached to the same records as the first one.
Yep.
Okay, one more question. Can you show us how to authorize Gmail so I can send emails from inside of NetSuite again? I missed that during your demo.
Sure. Sure thing. So just go to the settings tab here, hit authorize, and this little box will come up asking you to basically say it's okay. And then once you do that, just click on the email. And once you do that, you'll see that that compose button is there, and you can go ahead and send emails from within NetSuite.
Okay, all right, got it. All right, and then Lori, one of our engineers also chimed in on your question about getting an error when you try to edit a contact from the Celigo panel in Gmail. And it would be possibly also related to web services having to be enabled in your account. So we'll reach out to you. We'll have your email address on file. So we'll reach out to you proactively after this call and make sure that you're all set. So essentially, as a user, you'd want to just make sure that your NetSuite admin has enabled web services for the particular role that you're logging in with.
I'm just going to chime in for 1 second and add to this, because if you don't have web services enabled for your role, you're not getting the full functionality of the tool. You really need that in order for us to find the records for you and things like that. I've come across some customers who don't have it enabled, and they're like, oh, this isn't working, and that's the reason. You definitely should have web services enabled for the tool to work fully.
Okay, good. And we do have a document on our website that we'll share with Lori, and anyone else can come to our support site and just type web services, and you'll find that document as well.
Yep.
So let me do one quick cross-check of questions, see if there's anything else new that came in. Okay, no, so that's it. That's all the questions. Justine, back to you.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate everyone jumping on this webinar. I really wanted to hold it just so that everyone could see the full functionality of the tool. I know we have some customers, you guys have been using it for a long time, so thank you very much. And if you ever have any questions, feedback, enhancement requests, I'm always available. We want to just make sure everyone's using the tool successfully, so feel free to reach out at any time. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.